This was a really exciting project for us. It involved working with the State Library of Queensland when they were putting on an exhibition. The exhibition was to commemorate 100 years since the landing at Gallipoli. They approached us to help them create and design a family activity that would be one of the centre points of the exhibition. So our job really was to work with them to come up with some ideas as to how we could create an interactive family activity that would reflect some of the stories and engage with people to help them learn about the landing at Gallipoli. For this project, we had to become really familiar with what it was that was being exhibited. We had to become really familiar with the subject matter. So we had to learn a lot about the landing at Gallipoli. We also had to learn a lot about how people would move through the space physically if they were going to come in the door and they were going to participate in an interactive exhibition. Then we had to learn what their movements would be, how many people there might be at any one time, how many kids there might be in this space. And we had to really base our approach around a mix of all that theoretical information as well as all those practical considerations. So the outcome of all this was the production of what we called an interactive family trench. Now this trench was really a giant timber structure in the middle of the exhibition, which ran the whole length of it. People were able to enter the exhibition and enter the trench from both sides. Once they were in the trench, they saw images of a whole bunch of characters from World War I. Actual stories from World War I were used in that trench. People could read those stories and imagine and visualize for a moment what it might have been like to actually be that person in that position doing what they were doing in the First World War. And there were postcards that we created. Those postcards were left in the trench so people could then sit down in there and they could pretend that they were those characters and write a postcard home. We were able to create something which allowed the postcards to stay in the trench. People could take them home if they wanted to, but you could walk into the trench, see the characters, read their stories, and then over time you would see all these postcards hanging up written by people as if they were those characters in World War I, which really just contributed to the overall effect and impact of the program. It was a great success. People came back time and time again. Kids really loved it. They got more visitors into the show than they thought they would. And overall, I think that contribution to the show was really important to allow people to engage in a different way with what otherwise is pretty complex and pretty confronting material.